Hi 8th grade students, this is Mr. Alford, and in this video I am helping you with homework number 8, Functions and Statistics Review. So, let's see. Problem 1, which of the following statements must be true of a function? I'm actually just going to give you the answer here, and as I give you the answer and explain it a little bit, this will also help you with problem 2. So, which of the following statements must be true of a function? Every input value corresponds to only one output value. Or in class we said every x value gets only one y value, which is the same thing as saying no input values are repeated. Okay, there you go. There are B and C, that's your answer for problem 1. That should help you with problem 2 as well. Problem 8, which of these graphs does not represent a function? Hint, use the vertical line test. And it's been a while since we did the vertical line test, so let me just do it all over again just to help you out. So let me make this, here's what I do. I make a vertical line, and let's see, this vertical line right here, okay, my graph goes through that blue line only once. So, and let's see, there's another, I didn't mean to do that one. There's another, okay, there's another vertical line and my graph goes through that blue line only once. Here's another vertical line and my graph goes through that only once. Here's another vertical line, my graph goes through that blue line only once. Here's another vertical line, my graph goes through that blue line only once. Same thing, it goes through the blue line only once, goes through the blue vertical line only once, goes through the blue vertical line only once. Okay, so you can tell that anywhere I put a vertical line in this graph, my line will only hit that vertical line once, which means that this is a function. Okay, the vertical line test says if you make a vertical line and your graph goes through that vertical line more than once, then it is not a function. So basically you are looking for the choice here where you draw a vertical line anywhere on the graph and your graph goes through that vertical line more than once. That would mean it is not a function. Problem 9. So you get some multiple choice options for this problem, and basically they're asking you to find the slope for each of these. Slope is another way of saying rate of change. So I can't remember the options. The multiple choice options might say rate of change or they might say slope, and those two terms mean the same thing. So slope, you remember, is rise over run, so I'll just write that over here, which you should know how to find that with a graph. So how far do you go up, how far do you go to the right? So that's rise over run for a graph. And it's also, when we're doing a table, it's the same thing as your change in x over your change in y. So when you're doing the table, you'll find another rate of change for, this is the rate of change for function b, and that's going to be your change in y over your change in x. Okay, so here you're going to find the change in y, and here you're going to find the change in x. So basically you're going to have a fraction for function a that's going to represent your rate of change for function a. You're going to have a fraction for function b that's going to represent your rate of change for function b. And you basically have to choose the multiple choice option in this problem that makes the most sense, looking when you compare these two fractions. Problem 10. This problem is basically asking or saying that the situation is going to be a linear function. And if you don't realize the word linear is there, then you would have some problems. So linear function basically means y equals mx to the power of 1 plus b. So it basically means that your exponent on the x is just a 1. Another way of saying that is y equals mx plus b, as in you don't need an exponent of 1. If your exponent is 1, you don't actually need to write that 1. You can just not have an exponent here. Your exponent, you don't need to write an exponent if your exponent is 1. basically. So that should help you with problem 10. Okay, this will help you with problems 3 and 5 and 11. So this is still using that same kind of slope-intercept equation, y equals mx plus b, and we need to talk a little bit, review a little bit about what the m means and what the b means. So the m and the b are the only numbers that or the only variables here that actually turn into numbers. And I'm going to actually talk about b first. B is what we call the initial value. That means the one-time amount at the beginning of the story. So you really have to think about the story that they give you and think, okay, what's the amount at the very beginning of that story that happens only one time? It doesn't happen more than once. It just happens one time. Then m represents what we call the rate of change. And just to think about that in common sense, rate of change just means how something is changing. Okay? So here are just some examples to get you used to the idea of talking about how something changes. Like $2 per soda. That's just saying you pay $2 for every soda. So if you bought one soda, it would just be $2. If you bought 2 sodas, it would be $4. If you bought 3 sodas, it would be $6. That's just describing these 3 words right here are just describing how your situation is changing. Okay, here's another rate of change, $100 for every night at the hotel. So this is just saying how much this describes how much you're going to pay based on how many nights you stay at a hotel. For 1 night at a hotel, you pay $100. For 2 nights at this hotel, you pay $200. For 3 nights at the hotel, you pay $300. Okay, so just some key words that also help here. Per is usually a word that is associated with rate of change. And for every is another phrase that's associated with rate of change. For each is also, the words for each are also associated with rate of change. So there you go. For problems 3, 5, and 11, just you need to think and think with as much common sense as you can about what's being described as the rate of change, what numbers are describing my rate of change, how the situation is changing, and what number is describing the initial value, the thing that happens up front and happens only one time. Okay, last thing, problem 12. It gives you a number of points. You really only need to use 2 points, and that's when you use those 2 points and you put them into this slope formula that we've done for a while. And then you get your slope, and that should be your answer. All right. Good luck, guys. Email me or call me if you have any questions.